Hello, everyone. We are live yet again, and this is my weekly authors chat. So, because of that, I am going to keep my eye out for my co-host this week and see when she's already on. Perfect. Let's see if she sees this invitation in a moment. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good. I'm glad you're here and finally get to meet you. I've been excited about this for a little while.
Yeah, for sure.
So how I usually do these are so my end. Since you're my essentially co-host this week, I'll let you introduce yourself, your books. I'll kind of do a quick little thing on my end the same way, just because we always get different viewers from both sides, and then from there we'll just go where the day takes us.
Yeah, for sure. So hi, I'm Ia Lee. I'm a young adult fantasy author of Realm of Hope. And so I've been writing my entire life basically. I come from a background of reading a lot of books and playing a lot of games. So all of my books are basically they read like a game. So that's what makes it like pretty unique. They also like take a lot of inspiration from things that I grew up with, like Percy Jackson, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Marvel, um, Kingdom Hearts, and Final Fantasy. And so yeah, like I was inspired by all these things like pretty early on. I wrote and drew comic books as a kid, and then I wrote screenplays with some of my childhood friends for like little TV series and like movie scripts and like for like short films. And eventually I decided, hey, I'll write a screenplay for a video game, and that actually became Realm of Hope. So
Ooh,
it's kind of
fantastic.
cool how that happened. Yeah, so I was a freshman in high school. It was like the summer after that, my freshman year of high school, and I just like sat down, wrote a whole script, and yes, and then I wrote five other summers after that, and they all took place in the same universe, but during different time periods. And then flash forward to like a few years ago, I decided, hey, I'll just write these scripts in the form of a book because I think a lot of the things like the characters and the plot could work really well for a book format. So I decided to adapt them into trilogies. So yeah.
That's so cool. I will admit, let me just cut in for 1 second. You might have a filter on. I can't tell, but
Yeah,
I've
I
never seen
I,
this
I noticed
before.
that.
And
I'm
it's,
like
I was
trying to
just
figure
making
out how
sure it was
to.
just me, but I was just like, that looks
Uh,
like a filter and I can't tell, but
yeah, I'm trying to turn it off. So,
I can never figure out how to turn on filters. So the fact that you have one on, that's fine. It was just making
yeah,
sure you were
it's
aware.
yeah. I'm trying to.
But
I don't know if you could see this, but yeah, it's funny. I wonder if I can turn this off somehow.
yeah, because I just see like a finger poking your forehead, and I was just that's a little distracting. I'm trying to pay attention to your words.
Yeah, yeah. I can turn
But
this. Oh,
as you're
there we go.
oh, perfect. Now I can see your fantastic face. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I was like, oh, some technical difficulties.
There's always going to be something. There's always going to be something. So don't worry. But I
Yeah,
actually have a
it could have been
question.
worse. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, it could be far worse. I actually had a question. I think it's for you that popped up when you were describing your books, and Adam just jumped in. And I don't know if he heard from the beginning, but he was asking what were the games you were mentioning that you were inspired by. I guess the games like you say Kingdom Hearts and
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Fire Emblem. I played a lot of JRPGs and like Nintendo games growing up, so there's just a little bit of all sorts of series that I grew up with, like the Tales series, Dragon Quest. Um, yeah, I guess a little bit of Xenoblade, if many of you are familiar with those. Yeah, a
Mhm.
lot of games that are very like story driven.
I love that. I
Yeah,
absolutely love that. I never really played a lot of those games, but a lot of my friends were gamers, so I always watched the story play behind, like over their shoulder, because this, like you said, the stories were fantastic, and so is some of the animation that goes into those games is just wowing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, sometimes like when I'm writing or like reading my books, I'm like visualizing it as if I'm watching a movie. I think Um, I think that's why I have a lot of fight scenes written in my books. There's a lot of action scenes because
Love it.
I'm a sucker for those. I love
Me too.
creating magic systems and having cool abilities and cool weapons and just working out how the fights can play out and stuff. And yeah, I'm hoping people can see some of my fight scenes in kind of like a cinematic sense too, because it just, I don't know, it's just so cool playing in my head.
Now, I will ask this because I'm kind of like you in the sense that I'm really action forward. I like the action scenes. I like the good battle scenes and everything in my work. So have you, and this is kind of nerdy, I know, but have you ever physically like acted out your characters'
Yeah,
moves? Because I know I
definitely.
have. I
I
will
have the
admit I
full
have
like
100%.
toy sword, like some of my
Yeah.
characters wield swords. I also took martial arts and like
Oh wow.
kickboxing when I was younger, so it's pretty easy for me to visualize how fights can play out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely reenacted them and just imagining what my characters are doing. Like it sounds really nerdy and but
Oh no.
I don't know, it keeps me going. It helps me visualize the scene and write exactly where this character is positioned. So
Oh yeah. And I think that's something that readers may not realize or think about, but and some authors may not even think about either, is that when you do actually physically act out a scene, it does help you figure out maneuverability. Can you physically lift a sword out of a sheath in your back without it catching? Can you actually maneuver the way you think you're going to maneuver? And I knew another fantasy author who, when she was writing her first works, her son was still fairly young, and she would be like, I need you to do this so I can do this, so I can see if this actually makes sense. And it's just interesting.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess it also helps having like a martial arts background. So fist fights are pretty easy for me. I
Yeah,
love
no,
throwing
that's
in
fantastic.
magic, so you don't have to worry too much about things being like too realistic if you're throwing fireballs at something.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
that's
I
the
know
beauty of
I
having
can't.
fantasy world.
Oh,
Sorry,
that's
what's that?
true. I was like, I can't,
Yeah,
I can't ever claim that I've done true martial arts in any sense of the word to have whatever standing. But I took in college, took like a judo class and some other things here and there. And so incorporating, some base level concepts of like, how to drop your weight and shift your weight and certain things to throw people off balance. They all it matters. It's the details. It's again those little details you sneak in there that just make it that much more realistic.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I also like watching fight scenes from like Marvel to see exactly how that type of maneuver could work.
I love that.
Like
I
probably
love
one of
that.
the next best ways to visualize since I am no stunt double by any means, so yeah.
Well, I have some comments popping up and saying, one, this is a nerd friendly zone, and talking about how Xena has done plenty of different moves and a great reference. Also, someone else chimed in saying they fought Superman over 3 million times in their head. What a pal.
Wow. Well, I'm
Exactly.
super glad it's a nerd friendly zone because I'm here for it.
So let me ask, and I guess I should have inquired about this before we filmed, but do you have oops. I think I lost you. We'll be back. We'll see if I can join her back in. Probably bumped invite. Let's see. Difficulties. We got you
Yeah,
back.
yeah, no worries.
It's okay. We'll get the glitches out right now while it's early.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I was asking, did you have your book cover to display if it was in reach? And it may not be in reach, and that's fine. I was just
Yeah,
asking since.
fortunately, it's not in reach here right now. I just had it in the room with me, but I moved it out because I was filming a TikTok with it, but it's on my profile. Shameless plug. Oh,
It's okay.
thank
That's
you.
fine. That's fine.
Thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
it's right here. It's
Fantastic.
right here.
That was the best assist I've seen.
I was like, what the? Yeah, it's
That
right
is so
here. I
beautiful.
was like, what the? Yeah, nice to
We keep having this glitching. Let's see. We will get her. Again. Either way, we'll make this work. We'll make this work.
well, I'm back
I
again.
don't
But
know
yeah,
why it's glitching like that, but
yeah,
that is a beautiful cover.
Thank you. Yeah, Wibell art is amazing. I have to get the cover ready for the second one since I've been going through the self-editing stages and
Mhm.
hitting the beta reading stages like very soon. So figured
Yeah.
now's the time to probably get the cover for the second book.
Yeah. When is your second book is it about to come out? I mean, you said you're in editing, which I know editing could mean 2 weeks away or a year away.
Right. So I just finished the self-editing. I'm hoping to send it off to beta readers this month. There's been quite a few people excited about that. Um, yeah. I'm hoping for like a summer fall release, depending on the next rounds of editing, but that's always, tentative. Because, yeah, editing can be a struggle sometimes when you just keep finding things and fixing things,
Oh
and
yeah.
then it creates more things to fix.
Oh no, I was with that. I ran a Kickstarter for my upcoming, like super upcoming, third book of the Jet Chronicle series, and I only started running the Kickstarter after I was well into the editing stage. I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy peasy, lemon squeezy, whatever, and not so much. So I've been like scrambling and
Yeah.
running behind. So only like right before I logged on, one of the things I was offering was a pre-release of the ebook. So I just sent that out to all those people who back that level. But yeah, it can be frustrating and just you never know what's going to crop up between editing and formatting. Something always goes awry. At least for
Yeah,
me.
that's the reality of it. I went through all of those struggles when publishing my first book, Realm of Hope. Yeah, like this book here is just like the amount of struggles and like learning pains and growing pains that went forward with it. Just yeah, it was really something else with formatting and editing and
Hmm.
learning how Ingram Sparks and Amazon KDP works. Like
Hmm.
that's like you could yeah, people should create courses on how to work all of that stuff because yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
it's a
yeah, no,
struggle.
like when you learn one and then the others are totally different. And that's one thing is I do want to expand into Ingram Sparks because if anybody doesn't know who's on the reader side, what that means is I can allow my works to be wide so they can be found in things like Barnes and Noble, or I know that was a way people were distributing to things like I don't know about Walmart, but I know Target for a while and all these other options out there. Since
Yeah.
I'm exclusive through Amazon, I don't have that option, but I would like my at least my print versions to go wide next year, not this year. This year's too busy.
Yeah,
I'm
for
already
sure.
behind.
Yeah, totally understandable. Yeah, my books, paperback form and hardcover are available through Ingram Sparks, and that was already like a
Hmm.
how does all this work? And then I've been looking into an audiobook and because a lot of
Ooh,
people have asked for it, but like that's another beast for me to figure out. Yeah.
yeah. I see some comments chiming in. I love comments. Always feel free to comments. Always feel
Yeah.
free to
Yeah,
comment
we
if
love
you're
to
watching.
comment.
Say someone, oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy my work. I'm gonna skim through and let's see. Recommend if you feel overwhelmed sometimes to take a little self time so you don't overthink and exhaust your mind. That is the truth.
Yeah, I've taken
Absolutely
quite
the
a
truth.
few breaks in between drafting and editing. It's always nice to have a fresh set of eyes. I learned that the hard way
Hmm.
with my first book, so yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and like I'm a person who do not recommend it. I'm releasing two series simultaneously.
Oh my,
So
oh
when I'm taking a break of one, it's because I'm focusing on the other. And but it's kind of neat because then when I go back, it is kind of like looking with fresh eyes and having that kind of rest gap because you come back after so many months and you're like, oh, okay. And so, it's usually good when you reread your book months later and you're like, oh, this is actually fantastic. What am I
yeah.
saying? Versus other thing. But, it's always good to come back because you can catch errors and everything um, down the line. So I understand that fully. But yeah, so let me ask, so can you tell me a little bit about what your book is about? I know you're telling me about your inspirations and how you got started, but what's your blurb? Just pitch the blurb or your version of it.
Yeah, 'cause, yeah, that's always a struggle. Like I always like blank whenever someone asks me about this, like in real life. But
It's okay. It's
basically,
good practice. It's
so
good practice.
just yeah, yeah. So like descendants of these powerful heroes throughout history in this mortal realm are banding together to save their world from falling into darkness. So
Love it.
basically, like, there's these powerful bloodlines, and there's these powerful members of these bloodlines all basically working together, setting aside their differences to try to save their world from these dark forces and trying to unlock these mysteries and secrets behind it.
Yeah, so
So, yeah.
how would you categorize your book in genres? I'm assuming it's on the fantasy side of things, right?
Yeah, it's fantasy. I'd say it's a science fantasy because it's set
Hmm.
in a futuristic time period, which is why the Descendants thing is pretty. It's pretty pertinent, as there's a lot of history behind this world, and the other worlds that exist in this mortal realm. There's 6 worlds total, and as I said before, there are 5 other planned trilogies, all taking place in a different time period, with Realm of Hope actually taking place the furthest in the timeline. So
Oh,
it's kind of like an introduction to this entire mortal realm, and with each book, you basically find out more and more about this realm. So, yeah,
I love
this
that.
like empire of lore and worlds basically just, yeah, it's all introduced in this book, in this debut novel, and then all these other books help flesh out even more and more.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, maybe this is something you are aware of or thought about, or maybe not. And so I'm just curious because
Mhm.
I'm learning so many of these new genres and subgenres and subgenres or whatever all these kind of niche categories are. But I've heard a lot of people start either asking me directly or just in general that there is a huge populace or maybe a growing populace of readers who really enjoys what they call lit RPG. So literature that has that role playing game kind of vibe. And I know again going back to the thought of you were inspired by all these different styles of games. I don't know if you would ever categorize your books as potentially a lit RPG or if you ever thought about that. But I know there is a big group of people that, what feels like it to me, that are asking for more books that have that feel of an RPG
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I've like thought about it. Yeah, I definitely need to learn more about the lit RPG genre, because my understanding is
Mhm.
that the in lit RPG, like the characters are like in an actual video game. So yeah, that'd be really cool to have like some kind of like spin-off series where like in some universe where Realm of Hope actually is a video game series. Interesting little crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought about writing multiple like genres and different
Hmm.
series as a nice break from fantasy. I thought about like writing contemporary romance, for example, and I thought it'd be cool if, oh, maybe these characters love reading Realm of Hope or love playing the game.
I don't know. Again, I think it may be on my end, so I will invite her back. Sorry, I will apologize to her. Bad service today. So I think
Yeah, no worries.
it might be on my end. I can't tell. I have kind of so service or today, so it may be me that keeps dropping you, and I apologize if that's the
Yeah, no
case.
worries.
But yeah, no, that would be really neat. Now, of course, anybody I feel like who wants to drastically jump genres may want to consider a pen name for marketing
Yeah,
purposes. I don't know, like for me, mine are very varied within the umbrella of epic fantasy. So I kept my name even though there are so many different
yeah,
subgenres and age brackets that I write in at the moment. But yeah, if I ever did jump to something like sci-fi or horror, like a true, jump over, I might consider doing a pen name. But that's kind of a fun thing too, like you said, it's a little freeing concept wise of jumping to a different um totally different genre. And
just froze there.
to
Oh,
the other series in a different format. Like I think you were mentioning that earlier. I don't
yeah.
know if I lost her again.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
Sorry,
I
I think something
swear.
froze for like
I'm
a minute.
Yeah, sorry, it's just lagging. And again, I'm pretty sure it's on my end, so again, apologies. Don't
Yeah,
know
no worries.
why. But yeah, so what was it that years and years ago, like as a child, which I feel like I was, coming up with the ideas, but I never really truly attempted writing the works when I was really young. But what made you take that action, being like, I'm actually going to write a book?
Okay, so I guess bit of backstory here.
Yeah.
So it all kind of stemmed from when I first started writing. This is actually in the second grade where we had this little thing called Writer's Workshop, where every.
I don't know why.
Okay, we're back again.
I don't know. I'm not like touching anything. I'm like, am I a bad juju today? Okay, I'm not touching anything. We'll continue to try it. If this continues to happen, we can always reschedule a different time when maybe service is better. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, I guess continuing what I was going off of. Yeah, so they had this thing
Touching.
called Writer's Workshop in the second grade, and every single day they'd have us work on like a short story, like writing little short stories, and then we'd give it to our teachers to edit, and then it gets turned into like a little picture book. So I wrote so many stories. Like I just never stopped running out of ideas. Like first I wrote about like little stories of me and my childhood friends, and then it branched out into little stories based on shows that I watched as a kid.
Hmm.
So like that's how I realized, oh hey, I really like writing. So I started writing little comic books, and then I just kind of continued writing different mediums. So then it just kind of jumped into screenplays and then eventually books. And so I just thought that my book, well, I thought like the ideas I had for Realm of Hope would work really well in a book. I think part of it was from the books that I grew up reading. Um, I read a lot of Percy Jackson, like I mentioned before. I just thought like, hey, what if we had a book that had video game elements in it? Because I've never read a book like that before. I was like, okay, maybe I want a book that also has a fantasy book that has sci-fi elements too. So, or like in a futuristic time period, because I've never heard of that before. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll write a book that I wanted to read as a kid. So, so then I did it.
Okay, good. I
Basically,
love
yeah.
that.
In the most condensed version possible. That's how I ended up writing Realm of Hope as a book. Yeah, because I wrote what I wanted to read when I was a teenager.
No, I feel like that's the thing is every author should write what they love. Now,
Exactly.
there's always a strategy as well. Like obviously writing to market is a good strategy to make it marketable. I did not do that. So marketing is a little bit of a nightmare for me, but I'm still very proud of the books that I've written, so I'll take that challenge.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I feel like, I mean, first of all, writing a book is hard. It
Hmm.
is not easy by any means, and I feel like you do need that level of like love and passion to continue with going forward as as an author. Because like my understanding is a lot of times people will write a story and then it doesn't get finished or published, and I feel like you really need to love it in order to really go forward with it. And I feel like it's hell.
It has to be me. It has to be me. Has to be me. Like it for me. I don't know why. It's bad
Yeah.
mental. It's been my week. It's been one of those crazy weeks that everything is just getting all topsy turvy. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just moving to somewhere that has better connection in case if it is me, just in case.
Hmm. But
But
yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree with you. Like if you have to truly love what you're writing because it is a lot of work. It is so much work and effort and energy and time to just write a book and then figuring out the publishing, be it traditional published, be it indie. Those are, that's a lot of energy to if you're querying or, going to stages again, like I'm indie, that's a lot. And then on top
Yeah,
of
for
that, you have to like
sure.
market advertise.
Yeah, and um, yeah, I feel like readers can tell if the author really loves their story. Like you can tell if there's passion and love put into something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So is you said you were talking about obviously coming up, you're in the editing stages, which is really exciting. But you also was mentioning about each book going forward. So do you know how long your series might be? Do you have an idea, or are you just going to write until we're figuring out as you go?
Yeah, so since all of these trilogies that I had planned were all already written in the form of a screenplay, I kind of have a pretty good idea on each thing either being a trilogy or a duology. I guess one thing that is a little bit hard is figuring out where to split up the parts of the screenplay into like a trilogy. Like at
Mhm.
what point of that script to divide it into the first book and then the second and the third, because you still need to have that standard plot structure with like a
Yeah.
beginning, middle, and end. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's like at least I have an idea of them all being trilogies and fantasy epics since I always have big worlds and big casts. So that always helps with increasing the length of things too.
Hmm.
Um, I'd also say I'm like pretty character driven, so a lot of things I like to focus on are the characters and fleshing those out. So that can always help add on to the length as well. But my guess is things are going to be either trilogies, duologies, or quadrologies. I think that's
Yeah.
how those are.
Yeah. I feel like that's right.
Yeah, quadrolog. Yeah, it doesn't really roll off the tongue as well as trilogy, but
Yep, yeah. I was gonna say I always call it a series of four on that one. I was like,
yeah,
I don't even because I'm gonna get tongue tied and be like, I'm sorry.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, I do think that there's two ways it feels like, again, with more the epic fantasy side, two ways it could be. It's either those, like you mentioned, the duologies or trilogies, predominantly, or
Yeah.
else all of a sudden you blink and you have like 17 books. in a series.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely that was again a struggle that I had with adapting from a screenplay to a book. Because like some things work well for a screenplay and some things work better for a book.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, it just depends on the form of media that's in. So some things I had to like rearrange or cut or add to better fit the formatting of how a book plot goes. So yeah, but Robophobe is a fantasy epic. It's like 506 pages long, so
Very
yeah,
nice.
it definitely goes under the fantasy epic side of things because there's a big world and a large cast of characters to flesh out. Part of the reason why is because I love big casts. I'm a sucker for character interaction.
Hmm.
Like I said before, I'm pretty character driven, so I love having complex characters, and I feel like that tends to happen within like the young adult genres. Like I feel like things tend to be more character driven.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I love just having little fleshing out character backstories and seeing how different types of characters will interact with each other. And I love having a big fantasy world for my characters to explore as they try to unravel secrets behind the darkness that's destroying the mortal realm. I like having fantasy worlds that are based on more than just like medieval Europe, for example, because I see a lot of fantasy books that are kind of based on that, and I
Yeah,
want
Close. So close.
I do think it's me.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
it's
But yeah,
okay.
no, I do agree. There's a lot of books that do focus on the medieval era or medieval tech in fantasy,
Yeah,
where there's good and bad of that too. And so like I have several series that are kind of like that. One's Norse mythology based, so that's based in and around that era. But my portal fantasy, so my magical multiverse, it just depends on the realm you're in because I have some that are very advanced technology wise, and I have some that are super primitive. Just depends on the world and a little everything in between. But I am also a sucker for a sword, so
yeah, for sure.
I do.
We'll try it one more time and just let her know. I don't know. If I can't get her back on, I will definitely try to get her back on a different time. I just cannot tell. Sad, sad day. Makes me tear. Well, anyhow, we'll keep an eye just in the off chance get her back on, but if not, I'll have to figure that out. I did not know that I needed to update TikTok. If you know how, let me know, because I'm not technologically savvy, so I would always appreciate um, yeah, a little bit of help on that one. Yeah, hello. Running with technical difficulties today, it appears, which is a sad story. But let me know if you have any questions in the meantime. I'm going to try putz around with this for a few more minutes, and then if not, we will move on. Oh, okay. I have a technical difficulty. That happens sometimes. But yeah, okay. Well, I will have to try to do that when I get off this live. I'll keep an eye out for her. Well, it's not letting me join. Well, darn. Anywho, I will definitely try to reconnect this once I figure out how to update my app, if that is my fault. On the other hand, I really do have bad bars today. I don't know why. It's very unusual. Ah, that's fine. Okay, well, in this case, I'm gonna bounce off, let her know I will try to see her a different time, and we'll go from there. Sorry, guys. I might be able to pop back on and fix this in a moment, but I don't know. Cannot guarantee. Let's go. Okay, this is gonna be a quick test to see if I can fix this issue.
Hey, sorry about that. It like froze for I think like a solid like 5 minutes at least.
No, that's okay. I'm like, I was trying to say it again. If it's my fault, I apologize. I'll try to figure
Yeah,
this out. But if it's not, we'll see. Anywho, we shall try this part two.
yeah, for sure. I was like, I don't know what to do here because like it literally was just frozen for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I actually got off and then jumped back on just because I was just like, I wonder if that's it. And we'll just see. If it continues, like I said, if it continues to glitch, I'll just try to reschedule it, hopefully at a time that I have better service. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
yeah.
So let me ask, with your books, what kind of level of tech, because you say they're an advanced society, so are you using, is it just magic based system? Do you have like far advanced, what do you mean when it's like a futuristic? Define that. What does your
Right.
futuristic society
So
entail?
I'd say it's kind of like the level of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe where you have fancy gadgets, like you have holograms, you have communication devices that are wireless that can teleport you to places. You have these same devices that can hold like almost infinite storage, including
Ah,
weapons, which makes it really fun. We have airships that can transport you across the world. There are ways to travel between worlds using some of this technology. So I guess it's definitely more fancy technology than what we have in the real world right now.
hey, I like that. I actually
Yeah.
do like that. Or
Yeah, it's
what do
like
they
the
call it? Like,
interesting mix of science and technology. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you were describing it. It was kind of reminding me a little bit, like you said, of the science fiction side, futuristic stuff, but also, what is the other term they say? Altered reality or altered realism, where it's like Earth, but not Earth, in the sense of like their level of tech varies in some
Yeah.
sense or form.
Yeah. So like holograms and oh, I think it just froze again. happened?
See me.
Oh, there we go. Back again.
Do is end this early.
There you go.
Oh, what I'll do is just call
Night. If I give up. Oh well, I have no idea. It must be the day. But anywho, joining us for our failed chat. Sometimes it happens. Technology is weird sometimes, and I don't get it. I don't get it. But I will definitely do a normal, jump on and say hi, live tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm gonna sob in the background and be like, why didn't I figure out what is wrong? But yes, it's okay. It's okay. And for anybody who did support, like I said a little earlier on in the hour, was if anybody was one of the people who supported my ebook levels of the Kickstarter, be it the level or the add-on, check your inbox because you should have it now so you can get that preview read before it releases in about a little over a week. It's coming. That's exciting. Oh, there is a big update. Okay. Thank you for making me feel better because I cannot. I was just like, I hope it's not just me, but I'll have to go look into that if it's a update issue and figure it out because I don't like dropping calls. Anywho, thank you for joining tonight, and I will pop back in some point tomorrow at an undisclosed time because I don't know how my schedule is, but I will be live. And like anytime you see me live or want to check out my work, you want to check my links link or post a question or anything on any of my videos you see on my page, and I will catch up with you guys another time. Hopefully it'll go smoother. We shall see. Have a nice evening.